So, Erica, in the last segment, you basically told us a little bit about the 12th District of New York. It encompasses three different boroughs of New York City, part of Manhattan, part of Queens, part of North Brooklyn. And you are looking to unseat a Democratic incumbent. And what is it about your issue set that when you are trying to convince Democrats in New York to that your challenge is relevant? What are the issue sets that you're going to champion that you think are being underrepresented at this time?
Sure. So I think first and foremost is that I am going to practice what I preach. So it's one thing to sign on to the Green New Deal, right? It's another thing when you sign on to the Green New Deal and yet you still continue to take corporate PAC money from corporations like BlackRock, which have serious investments in other companies that are burning down the Amazon. And who we take money from as candidates, as elected officials, is going to impact the way that we are representing our district. And I'm sorry, but any elected official who says that the money that they receive for campaign donations isn't going to affect the way that they are representing their district is lying. There's no way that it can't be. And so I think just, having that a different value system is going to separate my type of representation, which is a grassroots representation, from our current Congress member. And I'm going to be looking at different policies that really affect, my generation and also the baby boomers. And one of the things I really like to talk about is paid family leave. This is not just about paid parental leave, which is so incredibly important. But according to the U.S. Census Bureau, by 2030, all baby boomers are going to be older than the age of 65. And that means about 20% of all U.S. residents are going to be of the retirement age. We need to have a paid family leave program that allows people to take the time to take care of their parents just as much as we want them to have that time to take care of, their children. And that also includes taking care of our siblings. I have a twin sister. If I needed to take off time to be able to care for her, I would, want access to a paid family leave program. And I think another thing is really making sure that any policies we advance have that Green New Deal framework. So it's one thing to start calling for, affordable housing and making changes and upgrades to, New York City Housing Authority complexes. It's another thing to, fight for guaranteed, safe, affordable housing and making sure that the investments that we're putting in them also mean that we're retrofitting apartments that currently exist and ones that we are going to build in the future so that they have glazed windows so that we don't have to use so much energy and that we have energy efficient appliances, that the insulation is also, green focused. We need to make sure that any type of policy is going to be connected. All of them are very intersectional. And so we have to have a representative who's going to look at these things together and not just in a
silo. Give us your take on Medicare for All. That's obviously a big issue in the presidential election. In the event that there is a Democratic president, certainly, hopefully there would also be a Democratic House, potentially a Democratic Senate. Where are you on this question of health care?
I fully support Medicare for All. I personally know what it's like to have to wait for health insurance to kick in through my employer so I could address insurmountable, debilitating pain of a disease. And in my case, it's endometriosis. And nobody should have to decide between more money in their paycheck in order to put food on the table and better health insurance, which means, possibly a lower paycheck amount. And I was also a sick child. I battled a lot of health issues when I was growing up. And I was really fortunate. My family was really fortunate that my parents had comprehensive health insurance through my mother's employment. No parent should ever have to be calculating the cost of a hospital stay or a visit to a specialist, an MRI, or a blood test in the back of their head while they are also holding the hand of their child, telling them it's going to be okay.
Right. You also call for a forgiving of the over $1 trillion in student loan debt.
Yes. So, I myself have about I have over six figures of student loan debt, probably close to the cost of a house. I went to college at a time where it wasn't the American dream anymore. It was actually the American expectation. And not just by our parents, but by our guidance counselors, our teachers, and even our government that made it really easy to secure a student loan, making us believe that we were going to have access to jobs and a career ladder that would allow us to pay these loans back. But that's not true now. Then, and it's not true now, which is why we have to not only have a student loan forgiveness, program for graduates, but we should also be looking at making public universities, colleges, and trade schools tuition free.
The other question I had for you, and obviously, in the event that you do win, it may not be an issue by the time that you're sworn in, but certainly other challengers to Democrats have taken positions on the question of impeachment. I mean, where are you in terms of impeachment? If you were sitting in Congress today, how would you, where would you be on that question?
I would be voting in favor for impeachment, and I would be speaking out publicly about the fact that we have not started impeachment proceedings yet. Impeachment has unfortunately become a political conversation when in reality it is a constitutional responsibility on the House of Representatives. And just because it was, political back in 1992 with Bill Clinton does not mean that it should be political today. And because we've waited so long, it has now become a political conversation. And frankly, I think that the House of Representatives right now is really shirking its constitutional responsibilities because they've been waiting so long to move forward with impeachment.
Erica Vladimer, you're running for Congress in the 12th District of New York. What at this point, we just got about 20 seconds left. Like, what's your primary goal for the moment, anyways, in terms of what you need to win?
This is a people-powered campaign and grassroots movement. So I want, everybody who wants to bring a new voice to our district to join me. And they can go on my website at erica4ny.com and join our movement.
Erica Vladimer, thanks so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.